Spatial management and the Scottish government. What's the situation with that?
Well, the Scottish government are refusing to use fishery spatial management around Scotland, unlike the majority of our neighbours in Scandinavia and in England, and in England, as part of the UK, it's our understanding that spatial management was moved forward under Section 28 of the UK Fisheries Bill, which basically stated preferential access should be given to low impact fishes.
Within a marine protected area?
No, in all Scotland's inshore waters.
Oh wow!
You know, so because the Scottish government are refusing to implement that and have a different look on it as quota, which is rubbish as far as we're concerned. The only types of spatial management that we have are within marine protected areas and the tiny no-take zone we've got in the back. Now that puts a huge pressure on getting these marine protected areas right. And as we've seen since 2016, the Scottish government have dragged their feet. Well, they haven't just dragged their feet. They've done worse than that.
They haven't moved their feet.
They haven't moved at all since 2016. They've missed more or less every commitment they had to move forward. The 2016 commitment by Rosanna Cunningham to look into the priority marine features out with MPAs, that may never move forward. And also when you think about it, in the present marine protected areas, Nature Scotland and the Marine Directorate say, well, of course, we protected these areas and we protected these features, but sustainable activity should be able to continue in MPAs. Now, I don't have a big issue over that, but the problem is, as we'll listen to our old friend and colleague, Mark Carter, he'll explain his thoughts on the Scottish Government and their take on the word sustainable.
Okay. It can mean many things or nothing.
Yeah. Or nothing really is what we're talking about in Scotland.
Yeah.
Everything can be badged as sustainable, and we've seen it. Every industry stating they're sustainable. Every fisherman, every salmon farm stating they're sustainable.
Greenwashing.
Well, yeah. If they're all sustainable, why are our seas in such a state?
And
anyway,
still going down.
Yeah. Anyway, if we listen to Mark, he's got his take, and he's got as longer decades of experience as we have, because we met Mark and David Ainsley way back in, when? 25 years ago? Yeah. And just like ourselves, Mark and David have been at the forefront of moving forward and trying to get effective protection, especially in the Firth of Lawn and Loch Lerne. They really need to be applauded for the amount of effort and time they put into these campaigns and battles.
They were relentless in what they were doing.
They were, yeah. So let's listen to Mark.
Okay, over to you, Mark.
The Rio Earth Summit in 1992 was really quite useful, because that gave a definition from the 1987 Brundtland report, A Common Future. And what that basically says is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That was quite a breakthrough at the time, and it also introduced the precautionary principle, the polluter pays principle, and the three pillars they use: people, planet, and profit. We had a video conference with one of the ministers from Scotland, and part of the conversation was about marine protected areas, and I couldn't believe what she said. Perhaps we should take the protected part and call them designated. Now, to me, that is really taking the P out of MPA.
So we're at the point where Scottish Government and Nature Scotland are about to give us yet one more consultation. Same as the old consultation, and covering the same grounds, no doubt, with maybe different language, but it just seems to me to be rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Yeah, I think we're heading in the autumn 2025, to yet another consultation by Nature Scotland and the Marine Directorate on protection of priority marine features. I mean, I was on the understanding that we went through all this between 2012 and 2016. We know these features should be protected. Why are we consulting on them again? I can't see
what has changed apart from it. They're worse off than they were.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a decade for another consultation on the same thing. Now, of course, we remember the interview that we did in 2006, nearly 20 years ago, with John Thompson from SNH.
That was quite revealing. We had approached him for an interview about the possibility of the community having a no-take zone in the island of Arran. And as much as he appreciated our input, he was basically saying, back off, because we've got it all under control.
Well, I think we need to listen to what John said back in 2006, nearly 20 years ago. Has anything changed since then?
We're 20 years older.
We are 20. Well, I'm 19 years older. From 2006. But
and we're having the same conversation.
We're having the same conversation.
Yeah, with them, not
with Nature Scot, with the new people in Nature Scot. I mean, the thing is, the people that individuals we dealt with in SNH and Nature Scot, I've always found excellent people.
Yeah.
Not naming any names. I've always found them excellent. And I think they are as frustrated as we are with the government machinery of not being able to move forward. Not being able to move forward because it seems that the Marine Director are either frightened or completely controlled by specific vested interests.
Petrified, I would say.
Petrified, yeah. Unfortunately, they're not petrified in stone. Let's listen to what John said on behalf of SNH in 2006.
No laughing.
No laughing. Oh my God.
Time frame do you think we would be looking at in putting forward a network, or surveying the ground and drawing up a network, and then negotiating a network with the various stakeholders?
Well, it's always very difficult to put a time scale on that sort of activity, and I think we have to recognise that the process that you go through is very important, as you, I'm sure, would recognise yourselves. Actually getting people to understand what it's all about, why you're trying to do it, is very often the key to actually making a success of it in the long run. So I'd hesitate to put a firm time scale on it, but I think we're talking about something in the range of the sort of 5 to 10 year time scale is possibly a realistic one for something like this. I mean, as I'm sure you're aware, I mean, there is a gathering impetus towards networks of marine protected areas at the European, well, global scale almost, but certainly at the European scale. There's a lot of talk about them in the draft marine bill that's being developed south of the border for UK waters as a whole, although there are obviously questions about how far Scotland will sort of sign up to all elements of that. So I think we can say there's quite a lot of momentum behind the idea of marine protected areas now. It may be an idea whose day has come, and perhaps particularly because fishermen are beginning to wake up to the fact that they're certainly not dealing with inexhaustible resources by any means, and therefore they do have a real sort of not just long-term but even quite short to medium-term interest in not completely depleting the resource.
So, Don, who in the end is responsible for Scotland's marine protected areas, or the no-take zone, or the MPA around the South of Arran? Who's ultimately responsible?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Judging from the outside, it seems like nobody's responsible. Okay, so each MPA is meant to have some form of management, and the question is, who manages these marine protected areas?
Yeah, well, I mean, the initial management is put in place by Nature Scotland, the Marine Directorate, the ones that have got management. But the ongoing management, how does that happen? Now, being involved in the coast for decades and involved since the no-take zone, you would think there would be a effective partnership between the community and the government. And there is a little bit, but it's, compared to some other countries, it's non-existent. Absolutely non-existent. When you look at even some European countries, but especially the countries around like the Philippines and places like that, the communities are in, they run the management, and they're allowed to by their governments. The government put in higher objectives and policies, but it's the communities that run them. In Scotland, we have this centralised system of more or less everything, and so you can't do anything without a long battle persuading civil servants and ministers, and quite often you can't persuade them to do anything, and so the whole system, it doesn't really work.
And management would always include review after a period of time. You can't just put in management and say, well, that's it, done. Things are changing the whole time.
So in general, the review Nature Scot seem to be trying to do, but don't have the resources to do it, are reviewing their little priority marine features, whatever, likes of this area and one or two areas is designated for mill, and that is all they're interested in. Whereas we in the community are interested in general ecosystem recovery. Fishing industry and ourselves are interested in commercial stock recovery. The government appear to be not interested in these other areas at all.
Priority marine features are the crown jewels, aren't they? Sort of. They're the last of the last.
Well, it's protecting the remnants. The lack of ambition is incredible. Priority marine features, which are about 80 odd, but at least 15 that are used in moving forward with Scotland's marine protected areas. In general, I and others agree in that it's a good way to select sites, but once you've selected them, continuing with the whole marine protected features thing is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and the evidence is there. You need area management. You don't call them marine protected areas for no reason. Nature Scot's saying we need marine protected features, and that goes back to the 2015-16 campaign that we were involved in. But I must admit, the Environmental Link and Callum Duncan from Marine Conservation Society, they played a brilliant campaign in moving forward that was listened a little bit, which was called "Don't Take the Pee." Now, don't take the protection. But what we found out in the last 9 years, it really meant don't take the piss. Because that is what the government, Nature Scot, have said to the Scottish public.
Mm.
We know in different polls commissioned by the Marine Director of Marine Scotland in 2018, 84% of the Scottish public want the government and industry, like the fishing industry, to protect more, to do more.
Mm.
And what have we seen since 2018?
Zero.
Zero. Absolutely zero.
Mm.
So yeah, let's continue. Don't take the protection. If you don't have protection, you don't have recovery.
They're completely linked.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the majority of our marine protected areas have no management.
And things can recover with protection.
Yeah, things can recover, and as we can see around the world and in the MPA, things recover faster than people realise. The ocean film that you starred in clearly showed in different examples that with proper, adequate protection, our seabeds especially, but our ecosystems recover. And faster, much faster than people ever believed.
But action is required.
Action is required. Paper parks are useless to anyone.
Well, it's an illusion. It's an illusion of protection.
It's an illusion, and as we had heard, unfortunately they've stopped stating it, but we from 2016 till a couple of years ago, we had persistently had Scottish ministers and cabinet secretaries stating, yes, but we've protected 37% of our waters. And they don't say it so much now, because basically they protected 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
You know, all they've done is marine protected designations. That's really all they've done.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Yeah. And the thing is, the public want this to happen. It's just like the public want an inshore limit. What we have, why are the politicians ignoring it? We know why they're ignoring it, through the whole regulated capture of the Scottish government by certain trade bodies. But that's not what the public want.
No, no.
The public want to see their seas recovering.
Irrespective of what the public want, I think the marine environment would want it as well.
Well, the marine environment want it, but the people that really want it are the next generation.
Totally.
Why should they inherit seas that our generation have trashed?
Daddy, Daddy, what did you do?
I'll try my best. We did try our best, honest.
Yeah. Or is it Grandpa?
It's
Grandpa.
It's Grandpa now.
Yeah.
It is Grandpa now. Yeah. We're doing our best, but
could do better. I think that featured quite a lot in my report cards.
I got that.
And the Scottish government have got it in bloody capital letters.
They have. Could do better, yeah. Yeah, my school report cards were very much the same. Yeah. Howard is quite bright, but could do better. Yeah, well. So, Don, you know, we've had a moan, we've had a grump about this, that and the other. But although the no-take zone, the South Arran MPA, isn't perfect, it doesn't pass international standards, there is the positive side of it, isn't there?
The results are just outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, since the no-take zone was first monitored in 2010, scallop density has increased by 352%. Up to 2022. And since the MPA, Marine Protected Area, has been put in 2016, the scallop density has increased by 853% to 2022. So, I mean, those figures themselves are an indication of what can be done.
Yeah.
You know,
the scallops in the marine protected area is interesting, and it's interesting the results from 2022, because since 2022, we have seen a large increase in scallop divers. And so a lot of scallop divers were operating in the South Arran MPA. And so the economics, my guess is if it was done again next year, those numbers would be lower.
The 800 would be.
It would be
slightly lower.
Well, I think it'd be significantly lower.
Okay.
But then that's economics.
Yeah, but if it was true economics, the data would be recorded of what they were taking out of that area.
Yeah.
You know.
So the divers are going along their minimal damage compared to scallop dredges, but the marine protected area is providing increased opportunity for fishing in a low impact way.
Yeah.
So if we moved on to lobsters, the other commercial species that York and Bryce did, the results for lobsters in the no-take zone were similar, and rose to 3.5 times more lobsters in the no-take zone until roughly 2020. And we don't really think that lobsters get COVID yet, but there was certainly something happened, and lobster numbers in the following year declined, and then rose, but not back up to 4 times. But lobster numbers out with the no-take zone were still doing reasonably well. So in other words, in areas that were fished by creelers. The other interesting fact in the no-take zone was, as the lobster numbers increased, the edible crab numbers decreased.
Okay.
Now, as divers, that doesn't surprise us, because I've seen my own eyes, and I've actually got videos of lobsters chasing after crabs, and lobsters will eat. Something eats another. And that's the ecosystem. And so lobsters growing large will eat the crabs. But the other thing that we think, but is still not proven by research, is that the lobsters in the no-take zone, because we do have evidence of measured lobsters, which are touching a metre long now in the no-take zone. So these lobsters need and control a large territory. So the reduction in lobsters could be down to less but larger lobsters now.
But larger lobsters are going to be producing more eggs and spat.
Just the same as larger scallops. So because the no-take zone's full of large scallops, it's not estimated, it's calculated to be seeding an area 40 times its size.
Wow. And
so the lobsters may be doing similarly. You've got bigger male, bigger female lobsters carrying many, many more eggs. And so that is one of the advantages of no-take zones. In that they can act as seeding areas for areas out with that can be fished, hopefully in a sustainable way. The other big advantage of no-take zones and highly protected marine areas is that we've ended up in this situation generally around the world, but in Scotland, where we fish every single square inch. And so we don't really know what natural is. And even though behind us we've got 15, 16 years of natural, it's still not natural as it would be 100, 500 years ago. We don't know what it's like. So we need these areas of no fishing, no practices that affect seabeds or whatever, or marine life, to understand what a natural ecosystem is and what it does and how it functions.
Remove the emphasis on that man has made in these areas, and there's a chance that it will return to its natural state, but it's going to take time. It's not like just running the video backwards, is it?
No, and it'll return to some some new state. What we really need in Scotland is within the network of MPAs. I feel we need more of the no-take zones. My hope would that there would be at least 5 square kilometres over it, or 10 or larger, over areas that are of interest to specific. It makes huge sense over areas of specific habitat that also is areas of habitat for commercial species, because it means that they can then breed more.
Sure, and produce more food.
Yeah. So the other thing in the no-take zone and in the MPA, the marine protected area within 4 years, the species abundance increased by 102%.
Wow.
So that's in an area that is still fished by low impact fishers. But in taking away the dredging, the species abundance increased by 102% in 4 years. So marine reserves, marine protected areas, properly managed, no-take zones work.
Yeah.
Our question to Mary Gougeon and Gillian Martin and John Swinney is, what's the hold-up?
My question would be about compliance.
Well, we're going to cover that in our next episode. Because it's really, really important, and we in Coast have got a huge amount of experience since 2008. We remember our first big meeting with compliance literally a month after the no-take zone came in. And it was very revealing. And that meeting, we after having certain meetings that we were not happy about in the minutes, we insisted on that meeting, whole thing being recorded. They weren't that happy about it, but they eventually acceded. And I still have the whole recording of that meeting that happened just across the road in the outdoor centre when we discussed the first month of incursions in the no-take zone. So in the next or in a future episode, we'll go into how important compliance is. And policing the sea, policing activities in the sea.
And making sure that everybody, the law applies to everyone, not just whoever fancies it or whoever can make money out of it or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's compliance, but then there's also the judicial system. And for protected areas, they are both failing. But we'll go into that in our thoughts in greater detail. But we'll also have comparisons with neighbouring countries. The comparison with England is pretty stark. But we don't want to go into that too much. We'll leave that for
next time. But there's a lot of positive indications that protection works.
Oh yeah, all around the world. All around the world.
And it's really a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, everybody knows it. You leave an area alone and it reverts to nature.
Yeah, it does.
You can do that in your garden.
It is. I mean, we talked about how does the Scottish government start? The only way I can see this working, because we've had decades of fisheries policy officials being the top dogs. Now, if let's put it this way: if there's no environment, there's no fisheries. If there's no fisheries, there's actually still an environment. Yeah. So what should be the highest priority of the Marine Directorate? The environment. Everything is based on the environment. And so why are the fisheries officials the top personnel in the Marine Directorate? The environment should be the top. Fisheries below them,
they're part of it.
They're part of it. They're an important part of it. But basically, at the moment, we've got the whole management, the government management, the wrong way around. and we've got NatureScot as government advisors.
Mm.
Now we know from from SNH and NatureScot advisors that we can talk about, because some of them have now retired, their frustration when I've kind of been pinning them down about why we haven't done this, why we haven't done that, and the response came back saying, I can assure you we advised the minister to do that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We can only advise. Advice is advice. You can take it or leave it. And it seems like ministers and the Marine Directorate potentially regularly ignore NatureScot advice.
Yeah.
So we need the country, if we're in a nature and a biodiversity and a climate crisis, need government departments that are fit for purpose. And Marine Directorate's not fit for purpose at the moment.
No, and hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah. Cut. So,
yeah,
I've got one more thing.
Okay.
And then we can go.
Okay.
11 o'clock. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm getting a bit chilly.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you've got a thing on. Bloody fucking Lamlash.
It's continuity.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I want to go back to the priority marine features.
Okay.
And also to what Bill Ballantyne said to us many years ago, actually just standing along there. Remember we walked along the shore when he was here. He was here 2 times for 2 weeks. And we walked along the shore, chatted to him, listened, found out all about his experience in New Zealand. And I remember him turning around to me and saying, when you get this, as before the no-take zone, he says, when you get this, make sure you have to monitor it. You have to monitor it. You have to monitor it. And do as well as you can with the government, without the government. And he said, something will happen that no scientist will have ever predicted. It happened in the Lee no-take zone. Basically, the crayfish growing so large, they started reducing the urchins, so we didn't have urchin barons. And so these things happen. Now, I'd completely forgotten what he'd said to us until just a few years ago. And many years ago, when I was diving with my friend Davey, I'd came across in the no-take zone, before it was a no-take zone, this tiny little coral-like structure. It was either cream or bright orange, and it was very fragile and very small and amongst some boulders. Didn't really know what it was, took pictures of it, thought it was, figured out it was some kind of bryozoan. I wasn't quite sure what it was. Anyway, during the baseline surveys that I was doing with both Jenny Stark in those days and also Claire Udale, when myself and Claire were diving a site just around the corner from here, we came across a bed of these bryozoans, which the common name is monkey puzzle bryozoans. And this bed was, we were doing a survey, and we gave up doing the survey. We were sat there, we were videoing, and we were so gobsmacked. These monkey puzzle bryozoans were all over the seabed, and they were this size. Whoa. And it's like a small coral, but it's a bryozoan.
Yeah.
And the textbook says they only grow to this size.
Wow.
And so I sent pictures to Callum Duncan and pictures to Joanne Porter at Harriet Watt, who's a UK bryozoan expert, and they both came back and went, wow, as well. And what's interesting was, of course, this monkey puzzle bryozoan isn't a priority marine feature. Okay. And since the no-take zone, since the MPA especially has come out, it's sprouting up in lots of sites. So we now have beds of this monkey puzzle bryozoan from this size to this size to this size. A recent one found by the coast boat, the Coast Explorer, right off where we're sat, right off this slip, was another bed. It was completely brand new. That wasn't there 5 years ago. these are not priority marine features, but they are incredible. They're more fragile than Merle. They would not be there if we were still dredging and trawling the seabed. Now, in 2014, myself and Professor Joe Porter from Heriot Watt wrote to SNH in those days and asked maybe this should be a priority marine feature.
You're still awaiting a response.
Well, we got a response, but it was like, these things take time. 11 years we are, you know, if, I mean, I'm not great favour of priority marine features. They should have been protected ages ago. But if that's the route you're going to stick with, why are monkey paws or bryozoans not a priority marine feature?
Totally.
They're incredibly fragile. We still need to know the rate of growth. We still need to know the species abundance with them. And that first time we found some, myself and Claire, we took one and brought it up and put it in a box and took it back to the coast centre. And by the time it came back in this plastic box, the species and animals that had come out of it were incredible. Little worms, little brittle stars, little shrimps, all kinds of stuff. Now, I know Lucy and Anya have been trying to get funding, but, you know, surely this is Nature Scott's remit. You know, we need to find out about this species, why it's sprouted up, and it's not able to sprout up elsewhere because in other MPAs, dredging's still around. That's the craziness of priority marine features. It doesn't really work for ecosystem recovery or benthic recovery. I think we've got enough for about a 3-hour podcast, Don. Cut.